White House makes millions on stock market crash. Here we go. The stock market's crashing, everyone's sweating, and then, boom! Donald Trump drops the bombshell of the century, a sudden pause on tariffs. But let's be real, this wasn't about saving the American people. Oh no, this was all about saving his donors first. You know, the richest people in the world. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Bernard Arnault from LVMH, and of course, Ellen Edelson, who owns the Venetian Hotel. She's the woman standing next to Trump at his rallies, throwing cash at him like it's her job. They must have all called him up and grabbed him by his balls and said, "You better fix this now, Don." Next come his friends. You think Trump wasn't going to look out for them? After all, they've supported him from the start. And then, let's not forget the countries. 75 countries supposedly called the White House, begging for a deal, Trump claimed. You know, just like how China and other world leaders are totally relying on Trump to fix the economy for them. Finally, once he'd taken care of all his donors and friends, then, maybe, he'd think about the American people. But we all know they come last on his list. Now on to Tesla, Elon Musk's golden child. Tesla's stock price surges like clockwork after the tariff pause. From $226 to $272.20, that's a $46.20 per share increase. A $20.5 billion market jump for Tesla alone. Now don't get too excited. Sure, Musk was probably celebrating, but let's be honest, he and Trump both stand to make a lot of money from these kinds of maneuvers. And let's not forget, even though Elon Musk lost over $100 billion in the stock market crash, he made back $20.5 billion in one day, all thanks to Trump's little tariff pause. And here's something interesting. Elon Musk just the other day called Peter Navarro a sack of bricks. And let's not forget his other lovely nickname for him, Peter Retardo. A direct quote from Elon Musk. Now, what kind of person talks like that about someone who is responsible for Donald Trump's trade decisions? Musk, who's clearly not a fan of Navarro, and you know he wasn't thrilled when Trump dropped the pause, likely gave a few calls himself to make sure his investments were safe. But of course, if you're worth billions, who's really looking out for the average person when you've got your billion-dollar friends to protect? And while we're talking about all this, let's take a minute to acknowledge the elephant in the room. This whole situation stinks of insider trading. Because Donald Trump took to Truth Social at 9:37 a.m. and said, "This is a great time to buy." DJT. Donald Trump, after all, has complete control over the Justice Department and the FBI.
So if anyone were to investigate this massive conflict of interest or even question whether
Some people used inside knowledge to make a killing off the tariff pause, it's pretty safe to say nothing's going to happen. Not a thing, after all. Who's going to hold him accountable? The Justice Department? He owns it. The FBI? Same deal. If anyone dares to bring up these questions, they'll just be laughed off. Because when you're in bed with the most powerful people in the world, accountability goes out the window. Meanwhile, let's take a moment to appreciate the irony. The poor and middle class, they're still struggling, still dealing with inflation and the economic fallout of Trump's reckless policies. But as long as the elites are laughing all the way to the bank, who cares? Right. Now imagine if Joe Biden or Barack Obama had done anything remotely similar. The outrage would be deafening. But when it's Trump, crickets. Hypocrisy at its finest. Even Trump's biggest supporters like Joe Rogan and Dave Portnoy are starting to pull back. At this rate, the only people who still back him are his rich friends. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share it with a friend.